From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hello and welcome to SportsLine. It is August 8th, 2016. Let's start off with the news of the day. And it happens on the high school football field. Jacoby Stevens, the thumper, the number 2 ranked player in the entire state of Tennessee, the top ranked player in the mid-state, had been going back and forth about where he was going to play his college football. First it was LSU, I love you. I'm going down to Baton Rouge. And then when all that Les Miles situation got a little muddled and it looked like he wasn't going to be there, he decided that he would reopen his recruiting. And boy, that let Alabama, Georgia, all sorts of teams from the SEC in. But today, Jacoby Stevens decided, I'm going to be a Bengal Tiger and I'm going to play safety at LSU.
Explain, you got to go to Baton Rouge and figure it out yourself, man. It's a special place. When you walk there, you just naturally feel at home. You can be from Tennessee, you can be born and raised from Tennessee, but you go to Louisiana, they'll treat you like they've known you all your life. I mean, you just feel like home.
They'll treat you like they've known you all your life. Well, if you're the number 2 rated safety in the country and the 27th prospect in the United States, but the top guy in the mid-state, they're going to treat you really nice. So Jacoby Stevens on August 8th decides he's going to go to LSU. He still has till February to sign those papers. My name's Steve Wrigley. I'm sitting here in SportsLine tonight. I want to take your phone calls on anything you want to talk about. Tennessee Titans seem to be a pretty hot topic these days. We can go there. We can talk about MTSU's football team. Can they keep up the offense that they had last year? So let's open up the lines. Give me a call. I'm lonely on a Monday night. Give me a phone call and let's talk about some sports. There's the number right there on your set, 615-737-7767. Right now, the Channel 5 sports team is over at Nissan Stadium, where the Titans are under the lights for the first big practice. There at the stadium, it's good for the guys to get out of those mind-numbing training camp practices where the football field just looks the same every day, and it seems like you're hitting the same guy every day. And so it's a good chance to get out in front of the fans and play some football. Whip the old pigskin around the old barnyard where things haven't been going so well the last couple of years. The Titans 5 wins in the last 2 seasons. Nowhere to go but up. I took a look at one of the most recent depth charts, and it looks pretty interesting. They've got a lot of rookies penciled in there. Not a lot, 3 rookies penciled in on the offense, and the defense seems pretty set with some veteran leadership. So the Titans are preparing to go through the motions the rest of training camp and lead up to that first preseason game, which will be this weekend at Nissan Stadium. So that'll be kind of nice to get some real football after what happened last night in Canton. Was that just the biggest mess you ever saw last night? I mean, they canceled that game because the field wasn't ready to play. The NFL just with the first botch play of the season. We have James on line 1. Go ahead, James. What do you want to talk about? Welcome to SportsLine.
Hi, buddy. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. You new to the show?
I'm new to the show, but not new to Nashville. I've been was in town for 10 years and then moved to Florida for a while, and now I'm back. But I consider this home.
Oh, okay. Oh, got a question.
Okay.
Who do you think's going to make the roster on them Titans receivers? I know somebody like Trey McBride, he's starting to get a lot of hype in camp. I think they're talking about a little bit telling news. I don't know who you think might.
I think it's way too early to set that roster. Right now, I mean, they've got Tajay Sharp penciled in on the first team with Kendall Wright and Harry Douglas. But really, I mean, I think coaches, there's a little psychology that goes into one of those first few depth charts that come out in the season, trying to maybe do a little motivating for somebody and maybe give a guy that's stepping up and performing a little bit above his normal level, maybe give them a little bit of confidence, give them a little bit of boost. But yeah, I don't put much stock into anything until the opening day roster. That really, I mean, who do you like? Tell me, you've been watching the team for a couple of years. Who do you like?
I like Tajay Sharp. I like McBride. I like Andre Johnson, Darrell Green Beckham. I think he's more of a game time receiver than he is a practice time receiver. seems like to me he kind of shows up a little bit in game time. And
maybe got a little Allen Iverson in him. We're just talking about practice. We're not talking about the game. We're talking about practice.
yeah, he may have it, but there's a lot of players like that. They get when the lights come on, it's just a total different attitude. And I'd like to see what they'd like to do this year. I hope they make the playoffs. I don't know, but I hope so.
Well, making the playoffs could be a stretch for a team that's won 5 games in the last 2 seasons. But, the AFC South is not that strong. I mean, the Titans and the Jaguars have been bringing up the bottom the last few years. The Jaguars, two teams with young quarterbacks. The Texans are breaking in a new quarterback. Andrew Luck is still the gold standard in the division as far as quarterback play goes. But the Colts, maybe they can. The Colts are the favorite without a doubt, but maybe the Titans can surprise some people. Whether or not they're a playoff team, I think that remains to be seen. But I would just like to see Mike Mularkey get good effort out of the guys that he has, have this team play like they did back in the day when they first moved here back in 1999. That was a team with a couple of stars: Eddie George, Steve McNair, Javon Kearse became a star right away. But really, it was just a solid group that played hard. And those games, I mean, any Titans fans that remember what it was like here from 1999 to, say, 2009 with a couple of hiccups in between, those teams were physical, and they were dominant on defense. They were tough to score on, and they played that pound football. And it looks like they might have the running backs to do that this year. If DeMarco Murray can get on track and Derrick Henry can live up to some of his hype, well, it's going to be awful hard to lose games if you don't give up the football. It's hard to score when the other team has the ball. So that's hopeful. But you mentioned playoffs. Realistically, what do you think the Titans' record could be this year? I think we lost James. I'm going to say if they win 8 games, it would be fantastic. If they won 6, it would be a great year. If the Tennessee Titans can win 6 games this year, I think that would be a great year, because it just takes a while. And Mike Mularkey has a young team, and they've drafted, they've had some pretty high draft picks the last couple of years. I don't really see that turning around. I don't think they'll be picking 1st or 2nd this year, but I think, it's going to take a lot to get over the hump and make that a winning football, and to make Nissan Stadium a tough place to play again. Man, it was great the year they opened up that stadium. The first game against Cincinnati, they needed an Al Del Greco field goal to win the thing, and they didn't lose there for a long, long time. They went undefeated at home that first year, and I think pretty well into their 2nd season before they even lost a single home game at the new stadium, which is now Nissan Stadium. And they're over there right now, and the Channel 5 sports team is over there grabbing all the pertinent highlights and some reaction from the guys. They tried to get under the lights on Saturday, but Mother Nature had other plans, and it didn't interfere with Sunday's off day, so Mike Mularkey will be very interested to see if they came back and if they're ready to work tonight. Let's talk some football. We got Brian on line 1.
Yes, I think I do remember you from another channel. Your lady producer was telling me. I moved here in 2003. I was in Murfreesboro when they played the Super Bowl, and I had moved out from Chicago.
Okay, I can hear the Chicago accent. You like the Blackhawks? You're a Bears fan?
I'm not a big hockey fan. I'm a long-suffering Bears fan.
What do you mean suffering? They played in the Super Bowl 5 years ago, and they won one.
True.
I grew up in Cleveland, man. We finally pulled the cork on that champagne this year.
And I remember you. What was the last year that you broadcast on that other channel?
1999.
You weren't here in the early 2000s?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got here in 1999. It was 2009. Yeah, the last game I covered at the stadium was the Terrible Towel game, which I think that we need to do some research on how to lift that curse, because that's when Javon Kearse and Keith Bullock and Lendell White blew their nose in the Terrible Towels. And the next week they lost 31-0 to the Colts. Didn't matter, still had the NFL's best record, but then got beat by the Ravens of all teams. The hated arch rivals from Baltimore. They lost in the playoffs to them, and that team has not been the same since. They had some, Jeff Fisher left town. They tried Munchak for a while, but those were the glory days, man. If you remember 1999, that season was amazing. Right. The Music City Miracle and the win against the Colts, and then they go down to Jacksonville and beat them 3 times that year. So right now, though, I mean, it's fun. The Jaguars used to be the big rival. Well, now they both have young quarterbacks, Blake Bortles and Marcus Mariota. They both have coaches that are trying to establish themselves. Mularkey's had a couple other stops, but he's never really had a good roster. So let me ask you, what's your opinion on Mike Mularkey, and do you think he deserved the job?
You know, I've been hammering on this guy on every talk show that I call in. I'm sure you've heard me call in and talk to the other guy. Who was it, Nick Barris?
So are you the coach killer? Are you hammering him? What are you hammering him for?
Yeah, I'm hammering him. I'm saying, man, I hammered him. I tell you got to get a coach with pizzazz. I understand the guy before that, the reason that the old man hired him, because after Fisher, he didn't want anybody overshadowing him. And it just got from bad to worse. Munchak never looked like a head football coach. To me, line coach, fine. You need somebody with pizzazz, with a big personality.
Well, does Bill Belichick have pizzazz and a big personality?
Yeah, you need a coach.
You need to win. You need to win, and you need a good roster. And look, Mularkey was in Buffalo. I mean,
I think he's full of malarkey.
No, that was too easy. That was too easy. Now, they say the mark of a good coach.
A star coach for a star team, a smash defense, and then running backs. When Eddie George used to hit the linebackers.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Who was going to come to Tennessee when that situation was what it was? I mean, you're not going to get a big name coach to take that job because the roster needs a lot of work. And I think they have a good team in place between the GM and the coach, but they always say the mark of a good coach is he can beat you with his, and then he can take yours and beat his, meaning that the coach is the difference with the X's and O's. And you know, it's a players' league. I mean, Mike Mularkey, I think, is going to get his first best chance. Jacksonville was a dead-end street from the minute he took that job. The GM got fired right when he was coming into his first season. The guy that hired him was gone. They brought in a new GM who wanted his own guy, but he was stuck with Mularkey. They had a terrible roster. So I mean, you know, we want to say that you want a superstar coach. Well, guess who makes superstar coaches? Superstar players, a couple of superstar players, and then just a good roster that's well prepared and has depth, man. The NFL is all about depth. It's about stars and depth, and it's a quarterback-driven league. And any coach is going to look, hey, look, Bill Belichick didn't do so great in Cleveland. He flamed out in Cleveland. He got lucky when Drew Bledsoe got hurt and Tom Brady came in and led them to the playoffs and did what he's done. But, you know, they do look smart for drafting Brady. I will give you that much. But no. Let's give Mike Mularkey 2 years. 2 years with the new GM, and let them do their thing. It's got to be a great team. Because you know what? The Titans haven't been really good since Floyd Reese and Jeff Fisher. One was the GM, one was the head coach. Then things got all muddled up when Fisher wanted more responsibility, and it just didn't work out that way. So hopefully John Robinson's going to get him some good players, and Mike Mularkey's going to know what to do with them. I wasn't really, I had to be convinced that Mularkey was the guy, and a couple of conversations I had, that did work. And then I just started thinking back to the roster that he had and the talent that he's had. And the reason why I believe that Mike Mularkey can do a better job than he has at his last stops is this. The players seem to be buying in. He's got a bunch of hungry players who want to play in the NFL, who want jobs, who want careers, and they're buying into his old school stuff. And plus, I believe he's tweaked his game just a little bit. Funny story, when I was in Jacksonville, one of the first practices, and we were the official station of the Jaguars, so we had pretty good access to the team. I saw him chewing out a guy who was not going to make the roster because he didn't line his helmet up straight, like he was more concerned about the way the players were stretching and lined up and their helmets were lined up than what else they were doing. But I think he's learned his lesson from that, and this would be a great time for him to turn that on. Any other questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think they'll be 8-8 and pretty great. Wow. And, you know, you got to go for them. I just think they should run, smash with those two running backs, throw the long bomb, and defense just hammer around. But I don't know half these guys are on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's because the roster hasn't been set yet. And if you look at the most recent depth chart, there's a lot of rookies penciled in on the first team who you know those guys. I mean, because they drafted them. But yeah, it'll take a while to get to know this roster. But you know, when you win 5 games in the last 2 years, that roster is going to flip over. Hey, appreciate your call. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We're going to take a break here on SportsLine. When we come back, we can talk about MTSU's football team. They have a great quarterback pass-catching combo that's on the Maxwell list. That's never happened in Murfreesboro. I'm Steve Wrigley. Give me a call here on SportsLine. We'll see you on the other side.